televiewers and subscribers. It's me again, Mrs. Valerie Cruz Ocampo, Senior High School Teacher 2 of Cesar E. Vergara Memorial High School, your teacher presenter for today's episode of DepEd-R Teleturuan. Have you had a misunderstanding with someone because you misunderstood his or her message? Why does communication breakdown happen, and what can you do to avoid it? These are just some of the questions we're going to answer after our lesson for today. This lesson is under the subject Oral Communication in Context, one of the core subjects in senior high school. Our lesson for today will be about effective communication skills. After the lesson, you are expected to be able to identify the barriers to effective communication, uses various strategies to avoid breakdown in communication. But before we dive straight into how communication can go fantastically wrong, let's briefly summarize what communication is. We have learned in our previous lesson that communication is an active process. It involves giving and receiving ideas, thoughts, opinions, feelings, and attitude between two or more participants, which lead to a response or feedback. Communication breakdown, however, is defined as a failure to exchange information, resulting in lack of communication. It happens if there are communication barriers present while communicating. What is communication barrier? A communication barrier is anything that prevents us from receiving and understanding the messages others use to convey their information, ideas, and thoughts. What are the different types of communication barriers? There are 4 types of barriers to effective communication. These are attitudinal barrier, cultural barrier, language barrier, and physical barrier. Let's start with the attitudinal barriers. Attitudinal barriers are anything that is related to attitude. A common cause of communication breakdown in situation is people holding different attitudes, values, biases, and discrimination. An example of this is prejudging. Prejudging is jumping to the conclusion that one already understands the message before it is completely expressed, deciding prematurely that the message has little or no value. Another example of this is lack of interest and attention, tuning out information that one finds uninteresting and not giving necessary attention to the speaker or the message. Our number 2 barrier is what we call the cultural barriers. It is discomfort or hesitation in communicating because of cultural factors such as differences in ways of thinking, behavior, views, beliefs, and insensitivity to the culture of others. The third one is language barrier. It occurs when people do not speak the same language or do not have the same level of ability in language. However, barriers can also occur when people are speaking the same language. Sometimes barriers occur when we use inappropriate levels of language or we use jargon. Jargon are words or phrases that are used by members of a particular group or trade and may not be well understood by outsiders. Slang and idiomatic expressions, or phrases or expressions that convey meaning other than their literal meaning, which may not be understood by one or more people communicating. The fourth and last barrier to effective communication is physical barrier. Not all barriers to communication are caused by people. There are many environmental factors affecting the effective communication, such as disruptive physical setting or environment where the communication takes place, such as noise, poor lighting, and distance. These are the common barriers to effective communication. We will have more of this topic after a few reminders from the students. Stay tuned.